Pandemic and the economic fallout has left a number of Americans in need of assistance. Food banks, where low-income Americans can turn to survive, are now struggling themselves. They are overwhelmed by people desperate for help.
It's the speed that this is hitting us that is making it so difficult to contend with. The current inventories that we have in place were not designed to serve the numbers of people who need help now.
Hardly ideal, then, that food bank donations have been cut in half at a time when queues are growing rapidly. In just 1 week, over 3 million Americans have turned to meal centers, banks, and kitchens for any help that they can get. It's an issue that goes far wider as well. Production and American agriculture is on the brink. As a result, it means that the food supply is fast becoming a global problem.
We risk a looming food crisis unless measures are taken fast to protect the most vulnerable, keep global food supply chains alive, and mitigate the pandemic's impacts across the food system.
In a situation like this, the policies of individual countries can have a global impact. In the United States, here, essentially, workers are not getting any extra pay for the risk they take when it comes to coronavirus spreading. As a result, agricultural workers are demanding more as they work to keep the shelves of our supermarkets full.
It's almost overnight that food workers went from being an afterthought in people's minds to suddenly being essential work. It should not have taken a pandemic of global proportions for us to realize that food workers literally feed us.
Some fear that this could be too little too late, with the supply chain already in danger of breaking down. It seems that amid the pandemic, the very fabric of everyday life in the United States is coming apart.
Unfortunately, our federal government, despite having all the warning signs, did not take them very, very seriously. And they did not do preliminary planning that would prevent the need for people to have to wait online and have to depend on food banks. In a moment like this is not just poor people or low wealth people who have to depend on this food. This is affluent elderly people and affluent middle class people who have recently been laid off. We also have farm workers who are not protected and are not being given the pertinent information that they need to protect themselves and their children. Many of these farm workers are also undocumented people, and even the phase 3 stimulus that we just passed in the United States does not apply to them. So they are not covered, they're not protected, they're ill-informed, and that is a recipe for a really, really big crisis. If we don't have people who can harvest our food that are healthy, that food is going to rot, that food is not going to be distributed. COVID-19 is basically a magnifying glass, an elucidation on all of the systems in our country that were already in crisis, the food system being one of them.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, which are the true names of the Heavenly Father and of the Son, who the world calls Jesus Christ, who's the so-called black man. Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Barakatham, to all the Akim out there that's pushing this truth and sincerity. Why Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Barakatham, to all the elders out there who labor in the truth and taught us this truth. And peace and blessings to all the sincere Akim Akwathim that's listening and learning. Well, as you can see on RT News, America is going through a food crisis right now, in which it said on the video, uncertain times. And that's what times we're in, uncertain times, which, let's go into the word uncertain. Let me pull it up here. Uncertain. Let's see. Meaning not fully confident. Right, America is not fully confident. America is not fully confident in how they're going to feed you people, how they're going to keep food in the stores. You go inside the stores, it tells you the rice is limited 1 bag per person, I believe, or 2 bags per person. The loaf of bread, 2 bags maybe. Meat supplies, you only can take 1 or 2. This place is done. And it's all because of this COVID-19 scare. Now, whether the elites are just trying to push it to the maximum to see how they're going to bring about the real thing, we don't know. But right now, if this is just a test run, this is just a trial run, you Americans are really finished. Okay, so you got 3 million Americans turning to food banks. They trying to get fed. They're trying to get food. 3 million Americans. 3 million, right? You got production in America's agriculture on the brink. Food supply is a global problem. The workers are not getting extra money, and the agriculture workers are demanding more money. If they ain't getting more money, they're gonna be like, hey, listen, we're just gonna stop. They can keep the food for themselves and whatnot. And then how you people are gonna eat? Egypt is in total mourning right now. This place is in total mourning. Just get that in Second Ezra. That's why it's good to know these scriptures. It's because Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. Let's just say that this is real. Egypt is mourning because of the plague and punishment that the Lord is smitten upon it. And what's that? This COVID-19, which this COVID-19 is just scaring the hearts of mankind, to rush to the stores, buy up everything. So that means that these food workers have to work extra hard to make sure that they're putting food in you people's stomach. Because just like the video says, people, before COVID-19, people wasn't thinking about the farmers or these agricultural workers. They wasn't thinking about them. But now everybody is. Because they're literally putting the food in people's stomach. So here it is. You people are relying on Egypt. Which we're going to rely on Yahweh Shai. The Most High, man. Which the Most High, he's taking the chief things that you people need on the earth. This is Sirach 29 and 21. The chief things for life is water and bread and clothing and a house to cover shame. And the Lord is taking that all away right now. People are seeking to the leaders of America to feed them. The Lord is canceling all of that out. It's a food crisis here in America. Let's read it again. The chief things for life. So the most important things for life is what? Water and bread. Which you can only take out a certain limit of water and bread out of the stores. And clothing and the house to cover shame. Psh, man, you can't tell me this Bible ain't real. This is Sirach 39 and verse 26. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. That's the principal things of the whole use of man's life. But now all that stuff is being limited right now. The chief things, the essential things that you need on a day-to-day basis, your day-to-day life, is running low. Ain't that something? That's like running low on air. You need air. You need air to breathe. Psh. Boy, oh boy. You Egyptians, you Babylonians are in a tough spot right now. Okay, and you see our people. You see Jake. You see Israel. Our unequal earth, a perfect storm. U.S. facing hunger crisis as demand for food banks soars. Food banks are reporting unprecedented demand across the U.S. as millions lose jobs. Investigation shows as millions lose jobs. So these people that are losing their jobs, they don't have any money, and they're trying to apply for unemployment. But millions of Americans are filing for unemployment. Matter of fact, it was notification. Look at this record. 6.6 million Americans filed for unemployment. 6.6 million. So you know there's going to be a whole waiting list. This is an unprecedented number of Americans have resorted to food banks for emergency supplies since the coronavirus pandemic triggered widespread layoffs. Right. Which goes in to Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. Verse 1. It says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, you see? And the grinders cease because they are few. It's few workers now. Like Amazon, for instance, you got a lot of people at Amazon who just walking off. Grinders. That being their employment. The grinders are few. Five Below is shut down. Nail salons, hair salons, barbershops. The grinders are few, man. And the doors shall be shut in the streets. Right, and the doors shall be shut in the streets. You drive down the streets and you look at these restaurants or stores, they literally have cardboard or wood in front of it. Nobody can get in. It's all shut down. When the sound of the grinding is low, it's low. The sound of working is low. A lot of people are not at work. It is low right now. Unemployment is at a high right now. These elites are really putting it on everybody. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Everything is just being brought low right now. The mirth in Babylon is just is down. It's out. It really behooves you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native, and some of the Indians to return to the Heavenly Father. But let's just say this all blow over. People are going to forget about God, Yahweh Shai, these agricultural workers. They're going to forget about all of this. They're going to go back to the day-to-day lives. If the elites stop this. But this is all really coming from the Heavenly Father, Yahweh. Forget the elites. This is all coming from the Heavenly Father. The Heavenly Father is looking at this and seeing who has their faith and who's loyal to him. Go back to this article. It says the demand for food aid has increased as much as 8-fold in some areas, according to an investigation by The Guardian, which gives a nationwide snapshot of the hunger crisis facing the U.S. as millions become unemployed, which I just read to you, 6.6 million. About 1 in 3 people seeking groceries at non-for-profit pantries last month have never previously needed emergency food aid, according to interviewers with a dozen providers across the country. The National Guard has been deployed to help food banks cope with rising demand in cities including Cleveland, Phoenix, and St. Louis, amid growing concerns that supplies may run low as crisis evolves. Overstretched food pantries are switching to drive-thrus and home deliveries to minimize the spread of COVID-19, as almost 300 million Americans are urged to stay at home, which before COVID-19, I know my family and I, we been stopped going to grocery stores ourselves. We always ordered off of Amazon Fresh or whatever. Now we can't even do it. We can't even do that anymore. Before all the stuff started happening, we've been on ordering groceries for about 2 years now. Now all of a sudden everybody's on this. Everybody's on ordering groceries. He says, I've been in this business over 30 years and nothing compares to what we're seeing now. Not even when the steel mills closed down did we see increased demands like this. Let's see. Said Shelia Christopher, director of Hunger Free Pennsylvania, which is the state I live in, which represents 18 food banks across 67 counties. Yeah, so this place is done. So it will behoove you so-called blacks and Hispanics, Native and some of the Indians to return to the Most High. So you will be good. Look at this. This is Half of American adults have either no emergency savings or not enough to cover 3 months of living expenses. Which through the Spirit, the servants of the Lord are good. We are good. Let's bring this back out. Isaiah 19:14. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. And that's what's going on in Egypt. The Lord has mingled a perverse spirit in Egypt. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt. There's no work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. You see that? There shall be no work for Egypt. There shall be no work for you people. And people are all laid off, which us, hey, we are doing our work. The work of the Heavenly Father. And this is where your spiritual bank account kicks in. See? That's why your ass should have been doing the work of the Heavenly Father. I had a few more precepts. Was not coming to mind here. Let me just try to read some more. Oh, matter of fact, through the Spirit just came back. Let me get this in Psalms real fast. This Psalms 37:25. I have been young and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. You see? David has not seen the righteous forsaken. The Lord isn't going to forsake you if you're doing what he's commanding you to do. Let's get that. Let's bring this out. Ecclesiastes 8:5. Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing. So if you keep the commandment, you're not going to feel no evil thing. And a wise man's heart discerning both time and judgment. And everybody is not wise, so they're not discerning the times that we're in. We're in the end times, the latter days, which is nothing but death, destruction, and famine is going on. Let's look at the word famine. Starvation, hunger. Famine. Extreme scarcity of food. Shortage. Lack. There's a shortage of food. Back in 2nd Ezra. Man, this Bible is just living. Living. 2 Ezra 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahweh. Verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord. Man, I'm gonna keep reading. And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. It's faithful and true. It is true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity, which is unbelief, of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. And that's what's upon the world right now. Famine, death, and destruction. Hey, Isaiah 65. My servants shall eat, my servants shall drink, my servants shall rejoice, you people shall mourn. Hey, so Lord willing, if you brothers, if you sisters were edified, keep the faith of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay, because Yahweh is fighting for us. So don't be afraid. But with that being said, Shalom.